This tutorial introduces the number of buckets, a very important attribute of ranking system performance measurement. Now, we're going to be evaluating all the stocks in our chosen universe. Number of buckets tells us how many groups we want to break the universe into. The default is 20. In other words, we're going to take all of the stocks in the no OTC exchange universe and break them into 20 buckets or groups and look at the performance of the best bucket or group, the next bucket, etc., etc. Each bucket consists of 5% of the total. Now I'm going to click here to get the graph. And remember, we're looking at the Portfolio 123 QVGM, Quality Value Growth Momentum Ranking System. And we've seen this chart before in connection with other ranking system performance tutorials. The 5% of the no OTC universe that's ranked highest, the performance is depicted by this bar. This bar depicts the performance of the worst bucket. Now 20 buckets is a lot. Let's take a look at what the chart looks like if we go to 5 buckets, which is very commonly used by organizations that have ranking systems. Let's take a look at this now. Now when we have 5 buckets, each bucket represents 20% of the universe. And we see that the performance is actually quite impressive. Now, 20% of a universe consisting of several thousand stocks is a lot, which means there are a lot of stocks in this group here. This is why ranking systems are often used in conjunction with screens, so we can make things manageable. But it does look like a ranking system where the top 20% outperforms the next 20% by this much, etc., etc. It shows that this is something that could be promising to combine with a screen. Now, we can also go in the other direction. The greatest number of buckets we can handle is 200, which means that each bucket would consist of 0.5% of the universe, a very small number of stocks. We see that the very highest buckets still outperform the lower buckets, especially the worst buckets, so it confirms that the system has promise. But this is a very, very hard chart to really look at in this area. If you want to use the 200 bucket test, you may want to download your results to Excel, where you could see each of these performance measurements as a specific numerical value. One thing though to caution, it is tempting to work on a ranking system and to revise and revise until you get something that shows perfectly well for a 200 bucket test. But just don't fall into the trap of data mining, where you try to pick factors and weights that work well for one very specific period. If you do that, if it's a non-robust model, as soon as you change the period, the performance could fall apart very quickly. As long as you have that caveat in mind and you test a variety of periods, bear in mind that you could choose as many as 200 buckets. This concludes the buckets tutorial.